Bueno, bienvenidos a Tiempo Fuera. Hoy estamos con Sam Griesel. Sam, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for coming. First of all, it's our pleasure to have players, any player that really that makes time for us. It's an honor, and we appreciate it. Well, first of all, I wanted to ask you a little bit about your early career, about who introduced you to the world of basketball, who or what made you start in this journey.
Um, I would say just my parents. I started playing basketball when I was about 8 years old, 7 or 8 years old. And they kind of just got me into soccer and basketball, and baseball, just kind of all the main sports, at least in America. And I don't know, there was something about basketball that really caught my eye, and then I started throughout middle school working pretty hard at it. And then obviously throughout my career, growing more than my peers did helped me and helped my confidence in the sport. Um, and by high school, I had pretty much fallen in love with it, and by my sophomore and junior year, I kind of fell in love with it and really became kind of obsessed with it. And that's kind of where my ethic was built, um, and to where it is, more than it ever has today. But yeah, I mean, my parents kind of got me in it from the jump, and then some other people came into my life as far as trainers and mentors that kind of inspired me even more.
Great. And also one thing that I noticed is that Nebraska isn't the first university you went basketball-wise. Obviously, you played Division One in Nebraska, but you transferred from NDSU, if I'm correct.
Yep.
Is there a reason why you transferred? Like, do you think like this is a program in which you can achieve more?
Um, yeah, I mean, I had a great time at my previous school in North Dakota State. I believe it was my plan, like I was supposed to be there. It was God's plan for me to be there the last 4 years. And I fit in really well there, and had a great career. It was just kind of like 4 years was enough for me in that position and where I was, and with my role. And I felt like, yeah, could had I had kind of achieved everything that I set out to achieve at that school, and have the utmost respect for that program and that community. And I'm still really close with a lot of people up there. Um, but yeah, just was ready to move on, and that was either going to be, with professional basketball, or obviously with the opportunity that I have here, back home at Nebraska. And I ultimately chose that to come back to Nebraska. So
Very interesting that storyline of having going fully on 4 years with a team, and then uh, wanting to being still like in that mindset of wanting to achieve more. It's like very uh, like I don't know how to say it in English. I'm sorry. Spanish.
all good.
But like uh, I almost like passionate. I don't know if it's like
Yeah.
the right word I had on mind, but it's most almost like almost that. Uh,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
also,
yeah. Oh, sorry.
sorry, no, my
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because with how the transfer portal is today and how many players go in every single year, a lot of the time, the players want the most NIL money, the most playing time, the best
the
whatever role that they're going to get. And for me, it was strictly because I had options overseas. I have a German passport, and I had top league German teams that wanted me to come over there right now. But the biggest reason and the main reason for me coming back to Nebraska was just strictly for the love of the program that I had of it, and it was or for it. And like the passion that I have for this place and this community, and just wanting to help out this program any way that I can. And obviously with Coach Hoiberg being here, and having the chance to just sit down with him and talk to him early in my transfer process, that really helped. And I believed in his, vision for this team and in the vision that he had for me. But yeah, I mean, I wanted to come here and be myself and try to leave an impact for a really long time here in the only year that I get. And that obviously has a lot to do with what I do on the floor, but also off the floor, and focusing on, being the best version of myself, and trying to help kids around this community, the community in general, and just, thinking about my 10-year-old self and how much I looked up to these players, and just trying to make that person proud.
Yes, because mostly people our age, for example, like I'm 18 right now, I'm about to turn 19, see the Division 1 level, and it's like every teenage basketball person's dreams,
Mhm.
a female or male, both they aspire to go to that level of basketball at such a young age, and obviously you have accomplished that. How does it feel to obviously be in that level of basketball, or now you have established in that level, but when you were, like, for example, 18 or 19, how did how that how that did that feel?
Um, yeah, I think honestly, I was I always believed in the work that I put in and stuff, and I kind of had that to fall back on. But for the majority of my high school career and early on in my college career, honestly, I kind of questioned myself quite a bit, and like um I had Division 1 offers, and I would question myself, like, am I really good enough to play at the Division 1 level? And then, as I got into my Division 1 team at North Dakota State, and I got into the role that I was going to play my freshman year, I was starting as a freshman, and I was like, am I really good enough to do this? Like, I didn't necessarily have a goal of starting as a freshman or making a Division 1 roster or anything. Like, my only goal when I was a kid was to play basketball at Nebraska, and that was like the only thing that I wanted to do. Um, and I just pretty much simplified it and didn't really think about it from a point of, it's either I play basketball at Nebraska or I fail. I think when people kind of make goals, a lot of the time it's kind of like that. And I really just simplified it into an everyday process and just focus on the process. And with that, each and every day I just became more and more confident. And once I got to college, like I said, I still lacked confidence, but I could fall back on the process that I had already taken and that I had, moving forward and taking it day by day. So by the time, my sophomore year came, and I had a little bit of an extension of a role, I would say, compared to my year before. Um, and I got injured in my sophomore year and then came back and really just tried to kind of fill that role that I had my freshman year again. Just help out any way that I can for that team. But we were really successful that year. And then my junior and senior year, being one of the older guys then and having a much bigger role, being one of the guys and the go-to guys at the end of the game. Um, by that time, I had the confidence because of the process that I knew I had developed throughout the years of my career. And so I could always fall back on that and the hard work that I'd put in.
Great. And also, one thing we noticed is, as you said before, you have a German nationality too, a part of American. Do you plan on moving to Germany after, this year, going to play pro basketball at the Basketball Bundesliga? I know there are some top teams out there. They are Bayern Munich, the Alba Berlin. Uh,
Yeah. I mean, kind of similar to my situation growing up. I have a dream to play in the NBA someday, in whatever fashion that is. But it's not necessarily, gonna make or break my life. Um, I still stick to the same process and same routine. I'm a big routine guy. wherever that takes me, I'm gonna roll with it, and I trust that that's the right place for me to be in that moment of time. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think overseas in Germany is pretty likely for me, realistically. Um, and I would absolutely love to live in Europe. I think living in Europe in my 20s would be really cool. I love to travel the world, and that style of basketball is really, really cool. Um, and my grandparents still live in Germany, so they lived there
Okay.
their whole lives, and so going over there, and I have a lot of good connections in Germany, just playing with the national team, and yeah, I mean, if that's where I'm supposed to be, then that's where I'm gonna be, and I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm just gonna enjoy life. If I'm supposed to be in the NBA, then I'm gonna enjoy life the same way. But I'm gonna be myself, and wherever my 2 feet are, I'm gonna keep my head there, and just take it day by day.
This happens a lot because when I have interviewed a lot of American players, but I also talk to a lot of American people in general. I have family there. So one thing that I notice is that a lot of, especially America, because of the NBA, they have like the best league in the world, and they are kind of blinded, I think, because they don't really realize how good overall the basketball in Europe really is. Like there are some really good, and it's very difficult.
Yeah,
It's a almost an entirely different game
yeah,
because the space is much smaller. The rules are completely different, and they underestimate the level that's managed in Europe in general.
100%.
So
Yeah,
I will
um,
totally love to see you play in the Basketball Bundesliga and see in the EuroLeague and the Euro Cup.
yeah,
It
yeah.
will be
I mean,
awesome.
that I will admit that, like, I kind of fell into that trap, especially younger. It's not, unless you are really looking for it, you don't see European basketball
Yes.
around. Um, and you just kind of think that because there's kind of a general, I guess, stigma around, especially once the Olympics happens, that the USA
Yeah.
is so much better than all these other countries. When in reality, like, European basketball is really not far behind the NBA in several aspects. I mean, European basketball is in my opinion more fun to watch than NBA, especially international. When you get the guys that have played together for so long, and just like the team chemistry that they play with, and just the overall
Absolutely.
team basketball that they play with. I mean, the NBA is really, obviously, especially today, like isolation based, and all you space the floor and beat your guy. But you know, European basketball is all about, how is this team, each guy's got to play their specific role. Um, the scoring is going to be much more balanced. It's not one guy going at one guy the whole time. It's just really fun to watch, and the environment that the fan bases create is incredible. So definitely something that, if that happens, and um, I'm blessed enough to go over there and experience that, it's going to be something that I'll definitely cherish.
I watch a lot of European basketball almost every day, so I will be watching you.
Yes, sir.
If you go there. Obviously, if you go to NBA, it will be great. And going
Yeah.
into the NBA, do you have like a team you support? Like, the Lakers that lost
Um,
yesterday?
honestly, I've never really had, when growing up, my favorite player was Derrick Rose. And he's honestly, I didn't mention this, but he's a big reason why I fell in love with basketball. Just he just, his athletic ability just like separated himself for me, and he was someone that I really looked up to. And today, especially, someone that I look up to just because of all the adversity that he's gone through,
Yes.
how much he's been able to grow as a person because of the trials and tribulations that the sport has put him through. Um, but yeah, I've never really had like a specific team. Growing up in Lincoln, there's no city team that I have. Um, but I love watching. Some players I love watching are obviously Luca. Um,
Oh, look.
I would say Paul George is someone that I've really watched the last few years just because we have like kind of similar body types. Um, and then Chris Paul, just how he can manage and control the whole game at the point guard position. Um, so yeah, I mean those three are probably the main three guys that when I watch NBA basketball, I actually really try to not only appreciate but like learn from them and kind of implement some stuff.
Perfect. And going into your number selection, I know you were number 5. Is there a reason you were that number?
I was just always since my high school freshman year of high school, I was number 5. And I've just been 5 ever since. My favorite number growing up was 22. But I was only ever 22 in middle school for basketball. In middle school for soccer, I was always number 5. It just the number found me, I guess. So 5 it is.
Let me tell you something. You being from Germany has like to be, uh, background for something that you just got soccer, and everywhere in the world it's called
Mhm.
differently.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know if you, but we are South Americans, and football it's in our
yeah,
blood, like basically.
yeah. It's crazy how like people have no idea how much of a global sport
Absolutely.
football
Okay,
is,
okay, okay,
and,
okay.
and how passionate people are about it. And that's the other thing with Europe. If that's where I go or anywhere overseas, um, I would love to go to some of those soccer games because
Ah,
oh my
yeah.
gosh, people think like college football is like the mecca of all of
Sporting
whatever the
events.
whole sporting event experience, and they have no idea how crazy it gets.
you know right now the World Cup is coming, and
Yeah,
I can tell you for sure that the two best team go against each other, and it will have like 100 million people watching them.
yeah,
So
hmm
it's incredible how, and also if you go to Europe, you can watch almost the entire UEFA Champions League. You're at 1 hour train away from every place, so
yeah.
you can go live
Who
happily there.
who do you think is gonna win the World
Uh,
Cup?
I'm from Uruguay, so I have to say Uruguay.
Yeah,
But being realistically, I would love to watch a two teams win Uruguay, or if it's not Uruguay, Argentina, mostly because of Messi and just that.
yeah. The last go around for Messi in the World Cup, huh?
You're going to support Germany
Um,
or US?
I don't know what I can say here. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've always this year I've the most confident I've been in the US in the World Cup.
Yes, absolutely.
They've always been kind of hard to cheer for, to be honest. So Germany is always the easy answer. So I'll cheer for both. Um, I think obviously France has a very good chance at winning. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think I'll just claim 2 teams. I'll go with the U.S. and the Germany for this year. But I'm so excited to watch that. It's been a long time.
I'm going to tell you something that I will remember. I will make you remember it when it's the World Cup. That France is going to be eliminated in the group phase. I'm going to tell you that.
You know what? I can see that. They definitely do seem like they have all the big names and stuff, and I can see that too.
And also because of the curse.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. The is it the if the team that
The team that won the World Cup, the last
year,
tournament,
yeah,
it
the year,
gets out in the group phase, the next one. It
yeah,
happened with Spain, it happened with Germany, and now France.
yeah. I remember when that happened with Germany, and I was like, "What the heck is going on?"
Yes, they lost to Korea, I remember.
Yeah.
And well, going again to the interview, and one of the last questions is surrounded on your national team. you played for Germany. How did you feel when you get that call to play for a national team? Obviously, right now they are one of the top European countries basketball wise, not just in the league but in the team. They have Dennis Schroeder and all of these other people. uh, how did you feel when they reach out to you and said you're going to play for Germany?
Yeah. Well, like I said earlier, it was never really on my radar until it pretty much had to be, or until it was going to happen. And so I didn't like wake up every single morning of my childhood life and, strive to play for the German national team. It just like happened. I don't know. It was when I was getting recruited out of high school, my all the coaches kind of told me how important it was for me to get my German passport, um, for after my college days, just playing overseas, and didn't really ever mention anything about a national team. Um, but as I went through my freshman year, and played a lot of minutes, and then was able to play in the NCAA tournament, the German national team was watching me. And so, yeah, I mean, I got a text and a phone call, um, that it would be 2019 spring. And basically, I talked to my mentor about it and pretty much call him every single day. But his name is Thomas Vilianco, so shout out him. He's my trainer and mentor. But we just kind of talked it through, and obviously I was hesitant. I mean, I was 18, 19 years
Yeah.
old, and um, I was going to go over there by myself with, I mean, I had no idea what the experience was going to be like, but it was such a good experience for me because I didn't necessarily appreciate it, as much as I should have, until I came back here and I was like, what did I just do for the last 2 to 3 months? Like, I just went over to a foreign country by myself with, you know, the German national team. I went to 4 different countries. We trained at like, world class facilities, and got to do all that stuff, and then played in the European Championships, got a medal. We got third. Um, and then, partied with a bunch of Germans, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, it was a very, very cool experience. I feel like I grew up so much just from that experience, and because I was kind of forced to, because I didn't have anyone to, you know, rely on necessarily that was there in person with me. Um, that I could just, I just had to do a lot of things by myself, and have conversations with people that I had never met before in my life. But it was a great experience, and I'm hoping that I can get, an opportunity to play, for the national team, in the years coming. So
Well, perfect. That was basically the first section. Now we move to the second and third, that they are much, much shorter. So
cool.
don't worry. The second one is, as I mentioned before, a question that Jeremiah Coleman, a player from South Dakota University, left for you. In this case, is what motivates you to keep playing the game?
Um, I think there's a lot that goes into that. I have, personal motivation, and, intrinsically, I'm very motivated, myself, and just want to be the best version of myself. And basketball is what I do right now, and kind of how I express myself. So, just trying to, get just a little bit better each day as a person, and, at basketball. But I have, I've met a lot of really inspiring people in my life. And I have a lot of individuals that, when I wake up every day, I want to make proud, and some of them have passed, and I know that they have front row seats, and they're always watching me. So,
Yeah.
just doing what I can to make them proud, and um, I wear, wrist tape on my wrist for every game, and I write the initials of my grandparents, and then a young man that passed away due to cancer a few years ago. So it's I M B M and then LS. And anytime that and I also write FTWC on my wrist, which stands for those who can't. So in my time at my old school, I was fortunate enough to intern with a foundation up there that helped with a lot of families going through
Difficult times.
PTSD. And so I just got to meet a lot of really cool people, and all of them inspired me. But that's kind of where the for those who can't came in. But anytime I go through any stressful situation in basketball throughout the game, I kind of just rub my right hand on my left wrist and just remember that those people are with me, and it kind of revamps my brain, and I remember who I'm really doing this for. So, and especially being home in this community, know a lot of people, and I know the community has my back and I have their back. So just keeping that in mind, and I know that basketball it's so much bigger than any of us as individuals, and life is so much bigger than any of us as individuals. So just always having that in the back of my head.
That was such a great answer,
Yeah,
Uh,
it's
and do you have a question you want to leave for our next guest? We can give you time on this one. We can cut
I
this
would
out
yeah,
and
I do have one. I would say if you if you could give any sort of advice to your 10-year-old self, just it doesn't have to be, obviously it can be related to basketball or athletics and stuff like that, but just in life, what's the number one piece of advice that you would give them?
perfect. Great question. Well, and finally, we move on to the flash question section. As I told you before, this has nothing to do with basketball, and it's fast. So we prepared, and you tell me when we go.
So is it just like a one-word answer?
It could be,
Okay.
it doesn't
All
have
right.
to be, but
We'll be
it's
fast.
gotta be fast. That's
All
the
right.
point. Favorite movie?
Pursuit of Happiness.
Favorite TV show?
Ted Lasso.
Not including basketball, what sport do you watch or play the most?
Golf.
A teammate you spend the most time with?
Derek Walker.
Favorite food?
Steak and mashed potatoes.
Favorite video game?
FIFA.
Which one?
Well, I'm not very good at 23 yet. So we'll go with 22. Me and FIFA 23 have a love-hate relationship.
16 was the all-time best, I'm just saying. Or 15, I'm between those. Hot or cold?
Hot.
One dream left to accomplish, not basketball related.
One what?
Dream left to accomplish that has not relation to basketball.
One dream, you said?
Yes.
Um, one dream to accomplish. Own my own business someday.
Favorite artist?
Like musician?
Yes, it is.
I would say right now, Rod Wave.
And finally, favorite basketball shoes?
Kobe's.
Any number in specific or in general?
I would say just in general, but now that I'm Adidas, I would go with right now. I like Trae Young's the most.
Okay. Well, Sam, that's basically it. Thanks a lot for coming. We really appreciate you.
Sure.
And it was a great talk. I enjoyed it. So hopefully you do. And we wish you the best this season.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you having me on.
No problem. Thanks a lot. See you.
See ya.